Good morning. My name is Prophet C. Brazil. Welcome to another day of Bible prophecy. Today's target point is Daniel 7 1 dash, let me get this right, 7 1 dash 28. Daniel 7 1 dash 28. What I want to explain to you before I get started here, this chart that I draw up here, the logos that I have placed on here. If you notice, there's 10 horns in Daniel chapter 7. 10 horns. In Revelation chapter 12, there's 10 horns. And Revelation chapter 13, there's 10 horns. And Revelation chapter 17, there's 10 horns. What this does, with such logos placed in each part of Bible prophecy, telling us where there is similarities, each prophecy is the same as the other prophecy. One is a replica of other, but it was given in some different season and different times. And by these being given in different season and different times, we know that this could only be a God. The human couldn't do this in that time. This was not modern time. This was where there was no technology available for mankind to create situations where they can put it on computers and stuff like that. This was far before the computer age and the knowledge we have today. For something to be this precise and this consistent, Daniel was about 400 years before the birth of Christ. The prophecy of Daniel was. Now, after Jesus came to the earth and was slain and went back to his Father in heaven and spoke back in the Revelation to St. John during the Revelation, which consists of Revelation chapter 12 and Revelation 13, Revelation chapter 18, the horns appeared again in these various chapters, consistent with the horns that we have here in Daniel. Now, what is a horn? A horn is what a ram or an ox fight with. They go with the horns. Now, to dissect the horn, if it's something that a ram and an ox fight with, then these are fighting forces. Therefore, each horn that we see here, if it's what the beast fight with, then each horn becomes one fighting force, belongs to the nations in questions that God was talking about. This is to give you insight, to give you education on symbols. This is how God gives you a symbol, and we must understand the symbols. Right here in the prophecy of Daniel, you have a leopard. And in Revelation chapter 13, you also have a leopard. These are the same symbols in question, have the same similarity, is the horn. So a leopard is a beast of many spots, but none of the spots is the same. Therefore, by all of the spots being upon the same exact body, it symbolizes a nation who is a multicultural nation, have many people, is having a personnel makeup of many peoples, nations, and tongues and religions, all located upon the same body of this nation, which is consistent with the United States of America. This is how God talks to us. You can't deny that. So when God speaks of a leopard, he's in here in Bible prophecy, it's about a nation who's have a general population makeup, human population makeup of many tongues, many peoples, and many nations. This is the characteristics of this part. So therefore, I want to get started here because Daniel chapter 7 is how the war began. Through the other recordings, I've taken you to and showed you what caused the war, what the significance, what's the main purpose, what caused the war. I want to bring out one more thing. I'm gonna wait this to the last because my time is limited on this, and I want to take my time this morning and cover many bases I can. I won't get to all of this today because I got Daniel 7:1-5 here, but I will extend from that Daniel 7:6-28, and then I got Revelation 12:1-17. I got Revelation 13:1-8, and I got Revelation 17:1-18. I will work all of these from this same chapter because they match one to another. This is the first part of World War III, how it began. And I will go to it and show you the rest of this here. This is something that you're not going to get from ministers because they're not going to tell you these things. Let me begin in Daniel chapter 7. In the first year of Belshazzar, the king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and a vision of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matter. Daniel spake and said, verse 2, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, the Mediterranean Sea, and four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first beast was like a lion and had eagle wings. I beheld till the wings thereof was plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand up on the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Well, let's characterize this and break this down. The first beast was like a lion. That means it was a vehicle or person that dominates. I told you what it lion break in pieces. It have the ability to break in pieces the other other beasts of the wild. It's a dominant beast. It breaks in pieces. It doesn't chew its food. It breaks its food in pieces. So this means that this here is a weapon of mass destruction. It had the wings as an eagle. So that means this vehicle could fly. So what this tells us that this was an aircraft which had the ability to fly, carrying payloads of bombs that drop behind upon the enemy of other fighting forces and break them into pieces just like a lion breaks his food. That's what he chew. He breaks his food. He don't chew. He breaks it in his water. So the bombs breaks the peoples in pieces. So it means this was a jet plane that had the aid of a pilot to take it behind lines. Now, he said, I beheld till the wing thereof was plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made to stand up on his feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. A man's heart. This means it didn't change the dynamics of what it was. It came to the cruise missiles and the nuclear missiles. This is how the campaign started. These missiles got shorter wings than the airplane, but it doesn't need a pilot. So the man's heart becomes a computer put on board, and it made it stand up like a man, and it comes up out of the silo and flies and hit its target without the aid of a man because it had a computer on board. This is what it means when it said it had a man's heart placed in here. So that covers Daniel chapter 7 to Daniel chapter 4, one of the first beasts.